ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणिप्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. All right, so this is a very frequently asked question as well as a very popular topic amongst devotees, that why do devotees suffer? Because we have heard so many times from the works of our acharyas that devotees do not suffer like ordinary people, and Krishna is personally present. So let's try to understand how exactly the acharyas they have explained this principle. And I have collected many references by Srila Prabhupada as well as our acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Sanatana Goswami. So we'll go through all these references. Basically, today's class will be more of sharing and knowing the references rather than me speaking about it. At the end, we'll also discuss how to deal with the suffering as well as how much can we tolerate. So I would like to share on the screen, and I would like request devotees if they could take turns and read. So I will be also reading as well as devotees can read. And what we can do is one devotee can read two articles at one time, and then we'll pass it on. So how many devotees are ready to read? How many devotees can read? You can raise your hands.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I don't know how to raise my hand, but I will read. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. Any other devotees? Yes. Shamrasika Mataji also, she can read. Any others? Okay. All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read, but I'll have to drop at 8:10. I have a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
This is Monica.
Yeah, okay. So can you tell me after how much time you will be leaving?
At 8:10, I'll drop off the call at 8:10.
Can you tell me in like a number of hours?
Oh, sorry. So I think it's 7:30 here, EST. So in another 40 minutes or so, I'll be dropping off.
So we can start the reading, and then you can take the second turn, and then Shamrasika Mataji third, and fourth Geeta Mataji.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, all right. So I'm sharing on the screen. So I hope everyone is able to see this. Okay, all right. So I'm starting now. Well, okay, I forgot. Let's start from Srila Prabhupada's purport from the Bhagavatam. Need to share the screen. A very popular verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, very commonly recited and understood by all the devotees and the acharyas. Okay, so reading from the 10th canto, 14th chapter of 8th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tatenugampam susamikshmano bhunjanaivatma kritam vipakam vidvagvapurbir vidadas namaste jive toyo mukti pades dayabhak. Synonyms: Tad, therefore, te, your, anukampam, compassion, susamik shamana, earnestly hoping for, bhunjana, enduring, eva, certainly, atmakritam, done by himself, vipakam, the fruitive results with his heart, vak, words, vapurbir, and body, vidadan, offering, nama, obeisances, te, unto you, jiveta, lives, ya, anyone who, mukti pade, to the position of liberation, sa he daya bhak, the rightful heir. Translation: My dear Lord, one who honestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Sridhar Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. The word Su Samikshamana indicates that a devotee earnestly awaits the mercy of the Supreme Lord, even while suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. Lord Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. The purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord. And therefore, the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produced the activity. Although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service until he completely perfects in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. This unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return back home, back to Godhead. A sincere devotee earnestly desires to go back to the Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues to offer respects and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, words, and body. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord, considering all hardship, a small price for or to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord, certainly becomes a legitimate son of God, and as indicated here by the words Daya Bhak. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the Supreme Pure Lord Krishna without undergoing a rigid purificative process, which may appear like suffering, but is in fact a curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. Yes. So, such a beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. And you won't believe this, that Prabhupada has so wonderfully, he has assimilated the teachings of all the acharyas. So, we'll go through um, the views of our previous acharyas also on devotees suffering for their karma. And you will see how Prabhupada is exactly repeating what they have said. So it's such a wonderful. I wish to speak a bit elaborately on this purport, but I don't think we have that much time. So let us continue, and maybe if I get some time later on, then we'll definitely discuss about this in detail. All right. So I am going to share the notes. All right. Okay. So I will read um, the two articles, and then the devotees can take turns and read the other ones. Okay. So this is the purport of Srila Prabhupada from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 17th chapter, verse number 22. A devotee's conclusion is that no one can become a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. And therefore, the devotee does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is His grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent. But in case of loss or reverses, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord could be so unkind to his devotee as to put him into great difficulty. Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such great difficulty, being crucified by the ignorant. But he was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way a devotee accepts a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. And thus, for a devotee, the identifier is as much a sinner as the mischief monger. The devotee tolerates all reverses as God's grace. Maharaj Parikshit observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was none other than personality of religion himself. In other words, a devotee has no suffering at all, because so-called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. The cow and the bull never placed any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali, although everyone lodges such complaint before the state authorities. The extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion. Okay, next one. Now this is going to be from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 16th chapter, 37th verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When something is arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not be disturbed by it, even if it appears to be a reverse according to one's calculations. For example, sometimes we see that a powerful preacher is killed, or sometimes he is put into difficulty, just as Haridas Thakur was. He was a great devotee who came into this material world to execute the will of the Lord by preaching the Lord's glories. But Haridas Thakur was punished at the hands of Kazi by being beaten in 22 marketplaces. Similarly, Lord Jesus Christ was crucified, and Prahlad Maharaj was put through so many tribulations. The Pandavas, who were direct friends of Krishna, lost their kingdom. Their wife was insulted, and they had to undergo so many severe tribulations. Seeing all these reverses affect devotees, one should not be disturbed. One should simply understand that in these matters, there must be some plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam's conclusion is that a devotee is never disturbed by such reverses. He accepts even reverse conditions as the grace of the Lord. One who continues to serve the Lord even in reverse conditions is assured that he will go back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha planets. Lord Brahma assured the demigods that there was no use in talking about how the disturbing situation of darkness was taking place, since the actual fact was that it was ordered by the Supreme Lord. Brahma knew this because he was a great devotee. It was possible for him to understand the plan of the Lord. All right. So requesting Monika Mataji to continue.
Haribol Prabhu? Sure. Since Chitraketu was a devotee of the Lord, he was not at all disturbed by the curse of Mother Parvati. He knew very well that one suffers or enjoys the results of one's past deeds or ordained by Deva Netra, superior authority, or the agents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knew that he had not committed any offense at the lotus feet of the Lord Shiva, or the goddess Parvati, yet he had been punished. And this means that the punishment had been ordained. Thus the king did not mind it. A devotee is naturally so humble and meek that he accepts any condition of life as a blessing from the Lord. Tatte nukampam sushmik samanaha. Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Text 8. A devotee always accepts punishment from anyone as the mercy of the Lord. If one lives in this conception of life, he sees whatever reverses occur due to his past misdeeds, and therefore he never accuses anyone. On the contrary, he becomes increasingly attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of his being purified by his suffering. Suffering, therefore, is also a process of purification. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this connection that one who has developed Krishna consciousness and who exists in love with Krishna is no longer subject to suffering and happiness under the laws of karma. Indeed, he is beyond karma. The Brahma Samhita says, Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. A devotee is free from reactions of his karma because he has taken to devotional service. This same principle is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text 20, 26. Oh, I'm sorry. It says Gunans. Have I
Sagunam.
missed?
Sagunam.
Sagunam
Yes.
Samitiyatan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One who is engaged in devotional service has already been freed from the reactions of his material karma, and thus he immediately becomes Brahma Bhuta or transcendental. This is also expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.21. Kishyante chasya karmani. Before attaining the stage of love, one becomes free from the results of karma. The Lord is very kind and affectionate towards his devotees, and therefore a devotee in any condition is not subjected to the results of karma. A devotee never aspires for the heavenly planets. The heavenly planets, liberation, and hell are all non different for a devotee, for he does not discriminate between different positions in the material world. A devotee is always eager to return home back to Godhead and remain there as Lord's associate. This ambition becomes increasingly fervent in his heart, and therefore he does not care about material changes in his life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Maharaj Chitraketu's being cursed by Parvati should not be considered the mercy of the should should be considered the mercy of the Lord. The Lord wanted Chitraketu to return to Godhead as soon as possible, and therefore he terminated all the reactions of his past deeds, acting through the heart of Parvati. The Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, cursed Chitraketu in order to end all his material reactions. Thus, Chitraketu became Vritasura in his next life and returned home back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.17. Thank you, Prabhu.
All right. Sham Rasika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sometimes Krishna may put us in some difficulty just to purify us and force us to advance in Krishna consciousness. The devotee should always see his difficulty in this light, that Krishna is so kind upon me for creating this condition of struggling. Thus, he is relieving me of so many billions of lifetime of sinful reactions by this insignificant and temporary condition of suffering sometime. Letter to Vaikunthanatha, Bombay, 29 December 1972. This material world is certified by the Supreme Lord, the Creator, and as a Dukhalam. Dukhalam means the place of miseries, and how you can make it comfortable. You can make it comfortable by your so called advancement of science? No, it is not possible. But we do not know what is dukkha or what is suffering. Real suffering is birth and death, old age and disease. But we have set aside because we cannot make solution of these things. We do not we don't care for it. This is lecture in New York at 19 sorry November 16, 1966.
Okay. Requesting Geeta Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Everyone is suffering who has got this material body. That is the condition. If you have got material body, you must suffer. It is not the question of European, American, or white, black. There is no such question. If you are animal or man, as soon as you have got this material body, you must suffer. This is condition. This is material condition. Therefore, our Krishna consciousness movement is not meant for, I mean to say, mitigating the so called suffering of the body. When there is body, there must be suffering. So we should not be very much disturbed by the suffering of the body. Lecture, Paris, June 9th, 1974. Krishna does not like to see his sincere devotees suffer or become frustrated or depressed. He will not stand idly by in any such case, so do not fear on that account. Krishna has got some plan for you. Always think in that way, and very soon he will provide everything to your heart's desire. Letter to Tejas, Bombay, 19th December 1972.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
All right, so there's a conversation now. So devotee, Srila Prabhupada, sometimes people argue that if there is no God, it doesn't matter what I do. And if there is a God, then he is controlling everything and it still doesn't matter what I do because everything is predetermined anyway. In either case, I am free to do anything I like. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, but why do you suffer? Devotee. Well, it's all God's plan. I suffer according to God's plan. Srila Prabhupada. No, it is not God's plans that you suffer. You suffer because you violate God's law. He's controlling everything, but he has given you minute independence. You can either follow his laws or violate them. But you are so foolish that you do not understand you are suffering. Your position is like that of cats and dogs, who also cannot understand that they are suffering. Our point is that you are suffering because you have violated God's law. And if you become obedient to God, you will not suffer. But you are such a fool, such a rascal that you do not even know that you are suffering. Devotee. But the devotees also seem to be suffering. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, but they are not suffering like the non-devotees. Material life, which is the cause of suffering, is like a disease. And devotees are giving up this disease condition of life for Krishna consciousness. If you are suffering from some disease, you cannot expect to be cured immediately. But one who is taking the medicine is very intelligent. His sufferings will soon be gone. But this non-devotee rascal will not even take the medicine, Krishna consciousness. So they will continue to suffer. And for the most part, devotees enjoy. Why are you always chanting Hare Krishna and dancing unless you are enjoying? Devotee. Sometimes I get a sick stomach too. Srila Prabhupada. That's because you have a material body. But your suffering is just like the movement of a fan that has been switched off. The fan is still moving, but the switch is off, so it will soon stop. Similarly, your suffering will soon stop because you're acting on spiritual platform. And after giving up this body, you'll have a completely blissful life. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Takta Deham Punarjanma Neti. After giving up the body, a devotee doesn't take birth again in the material world. You are not going to get another material body full of suffering. That is your advantage. But these non-devotee rascals are going to continue getting body after body full of suffering. They will have to accept one body and suffer, and then again they will have to give up that body and take another body and suffer. As long as one accepts a material body, he will have to suffer. Because having a material body means suffering. So those who are not Krishna conscious will change bodies one after another and continue to suffer the threefold miseries, those caused by the body and mind, those caused by other living beings, and those caused by natural calamities. But devotees, even if they appear to be undergoing some suffering, will eventually give up the material body and remain in their spiritual body, free from all suffering. Devotee, taking the position of a materialist. That is simply your faith. La Prabhupada. And it is your faith that you do not believe it. We are accepting the words of Bhagavad Gita on faith. So we have a chance of getting promoted to spiritual world. But you have no faith. So you are sure to continue suffering in the material world. You are at least willing to take the chance. But you are so foolish that you are not willing to take chance. So your suffering is sure to continue. Devotee. Indians often say, well, I will take the chance when Krishna wishes. His will is supreme. So whenever he desires, he wishes, he will make me Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. Give up all your nonsense and surrender unto me, become Krishna conscious. So Krishna wishes that you surrender to him. Why don't you obey his wish? Devotee. Why does Krishna arrange for the pleasures of sense education if they only bring us suffering? Srila Prabhupada. Again, the same answer. Krishna has given us minded independence. We can use our senses for either sense gratification or for serving him, which is the real pleasure of the senses. The senses are meant for enjoyment. But if you try to enjoy your senses in a diseased way by gratifying them, that is your misfortune, and you will have to suffer. You have to cure your disease by becoming Krishna conscious. Then you will enjoy unlimitedly. We are not like the Mayavadis who want to destroy the senses and become senseless. That is not our program. We want to purify the senses. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparyatvena nirmalam. Suppose a man cannot see because he has glaucoma. The Maya program is that if your eyes is giving you trouble, you cannot see, pluck it out. That is not our program. We want to cure disease so you can see very nicely. So senses should be cured of the material disease by our practicing Krishna consciousness. Then we'll be able to enjoy real sense pleasure by using our senses in the service of Rishikesh, the master of the senses. Morning walk, April 1975, Mayapur.
So, Prabhuji, can we discuss this paragraph a little bit? Or later? Or maybe later?
Yeah, I can understand, because I also feel that I would like to share many things, but the problem is that if we get stuck here, we'll not be able to cover all the references. So
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
that first, and then definitely whatever devotees would like to discuss, we'll discuss. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Monica Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Do you want me to read this?
Yeah, you can read the two next to
Sure. This one, when a devotee is in great danger. Sorry, Prabhu, because it's on the phone. When a devotee is in great danger, he sees the danger to be just a second to be the great mercy of the Lord, because it's an opportunity to think of the Lord very sincerely and with undivided attention. Tatte nukampam susmi sushmi sushmikshama shamano
Samikshana.
samikshanam samikshanam bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. He does not accuse the Supreme Personality of Godhead for having let his devotees fall into such a dangerous condition. Rather, he considers that dangerous conditions to be due to his past misdeeds, and takes it as an opportunity to pray to the Lord and offer thanks for having been given such an opportunity. When a devotee lives in this way, his salvation is going back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3, Text 32, Purport. Tatte nokampam. What did you say? What was the word, Prabhu? Can you?
Samikshamana.
Samikshamana. Samana. This is practical example of how a devotee thinks. He regards any reverses in life as blessing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, instead of being agitated by such reverses, he continues his activities of devotional service, and Krishna takes care of him and enables him to be promoted to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. If a devotee has to suffer the reactions of his past misdeeds, the Supreme Lord arranges for him to be given only a token of these reactions, and very soon he is freed from all reactions of material contamination. One should therefore adhere to devotional service, and the Lord Himself will very soon see to one's promotion to the spiritual world. A devotee should not be disturbed by unfortunate circumstances, but must continue his regular program, depending on the Lord for everything. The word upadarayan, considering, is very significant in this verse. This word indicates that a devotee knows what is what. He understands what is happening in material conditional life. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, text, chapter 4, 11, 12, purport, 11, 12 text, purport.
Okay. All right.
I'm glad. Do you want
Yeah.
to?
So, Sham Rasika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I will not be able to read. Himangini Shetty Mataji, you would like to read?
I can continue till the end, Prabhu.
Okay.
I'm glad to note that from your recent letter under reply you are feeling better than you previously expressed. So when you may feel morose, chant Hare Krishna mantra loudly and hear it. This will reestablish you on the platform of transcendental bliss. Sometimes it appears that the devotee is put into some difficulty unreasonably, but the devotee does not take even his adverse circumstance as other than a manifestation of the Lord's supreme mercy. Anyway, such feelings come and go like seasonal changes, and we should not deviate from that reason from our prescribed duty. Prabhupada's letter, January 8, 1971.
Okay. So I think Sham Rasika Mataji, you said you will not be able to read.
Prabhuji, I can also read.
Oh yeah, of course. So I think Deeta Mataji, let her finish, and then you can. Also.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. So generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with the place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services, it is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:8-25.
Okay.
Should I continue? Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Rupini Padma Mataji, you would like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. I'm moving with the finger the screen because so I might just go a little slow. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Understanding the meaning of this topic, having given up all other practices and performing only bhakti, one will attain you. However, in what manner should a person do this? In expectations of such a question, this verse is quoted. Tat here means therefore, indicating that because of the glories of the Lord mentioned in the previous Bhagavatam verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-7, the devotee acts in this way. Atma Kritam Vipakam means happiness and suffering that occurs during performance of bhakti. Dharmasya hi apavargasya naratho rathyopakalpate. Sorry, my pronunciation. Narthasya dharma kantasya kamo laphaya hi samrataha. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.9. Should I continue?
Yeah, this is a continuation of that.
Okay. A secondary unsought result of bhakti is happiness. The results of aparadhas are suffering. Experiencing both of these results from his bhakti, Atma Kritam Vipakam, the devotees sees this Su Samik Shamahana, Su Samik Samanaha, clearly, Su for Sustu, Sustu, and what is that word?
Accurately.
Accum.
Accurately.
Accurately, some for, I'm like moving the screen left and right, some for samyak as your mercy. He knows that the happiness and distress that is experienced stems from the Lord's mercy alone. It is not, it is just like a father who sometimes makes his son drink milk and sometimes bitter juice made from nimba leaves. I do not know, but the Lord, like a father, knows what is good and bad for me. And thus, sometimes he embraces and kisses me and sometimes slaps me. I, his devotee, have no power at all over karma and time. He alone, by his mercy, makes me experience happiness and distress and makes me serve him. The devotee considers his situation in this way, in the manner of King Pruthu.
You may skip the Sanskrit sloka.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional, it says AL.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
there's some, I think, issue with that. Constitutional
Constitutional
position.
position. And out of ignorance, they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you, but as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son. Please bestow upon me whatever you think is best for me. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:20-31. Revealing himself daily to the Lord, offering respect with mind, words, and body, passing his life while not being unduly tormented, the devotee becomes the rightful claimant of mukti or liberation from samsara, secondary effects, and pada or service primary effects at the Lord's lotus feet, dvanda compound considering as one until mukti pada. As remaining alive remaining alive is the cause of good son receiving his inheritance. So the devotees remaining alive in this world with steadiness on the path of bhakti is the cause of his receiving freedom from samsara and service to the Lord. In a similar manner, it is said, I'll just do the
Yeah.
only if they become your faithful followers are those who breathe actually alive. Otherwise, their breathing is like that of a bellows. Shrimad Bhagavatam 10:87-17. BRS 12174. Should I continue?
I will continue.
Okay.
So BRS means Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. This is Vishwanath Thakur's commentary. Okay, all right. Now, however, happiness and distress are also seen in the devotee, even with the destruction of all prarabdha karmas. Happiness is one of the incidental results of practicing bhakti. It is said, all the perfections such as liberation and wondrous enjoyments pursue the great goddess of devotion to the Lord like maid servants. Narad Pancharatra. The distress experienced by the devotee is sometimes given by the Lord, not karma. If I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and the friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Srimad Bhagavatam 10 Canto 88 chapter verse number 8. Sometimes, however, the suffering is a result of offense to the Vaishnavas. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.1.22. When some people do not see ecstatic symptoms manifest in those devotees fully engaged in hearing and chanting, when they see that these devotees are also inclined towards sinful activities, they often imagine aparads. Not only that, but when they see devotees suffering every day, distress, such persons assume that devotees are not free from prarabdha sins. The Ajamil story helps to clarify the matter. The events in Ajamil's life, his immoral association with prostitute, his sons receiving the name Narayan, the affection he felt when calling his son by name many times in a day, his being judged innocent of offense by the Vishnudutas, all constitute reactions from prarabdha sins. However, in the case of Yudhishthir Maharaj, although free from the reactions of prarabdha sin, he still had to suffer many harrowing adversities. So surrendered devotees are under the Lord's protection. I think this article that I read is from Vishwanath Thakur's Madhurya Kadambini. Maybe I forgot to mention the reference here. Okay, so well, surrendered devotees are under Lord's protection. The philosophical conclusion to this is deftly explained by the analogy of a fruit-bearing tree that bears fruit only after a certain period of time, not just at any time, nor immediately upon being planted. Similarly, a devotee blessed by the holy name because of his devotion is showered with the mercy of the name all in the proper time. As for the sinful reactions the devotees suffer because of his previous impiety, they are compared to the striking of a fangless snake, inconsequential. Therefore, his sorrows, reversals, retributions, and diseases are not consequence of prarabdha sins. The Supreme Lord has declared 10:88:8. The person who is blessed by me, I gradually take away his wealth, his friends and relatives drift away from him because of his poverty and suffering. In another place, the Lord says, the awesome affliction known as poverty is in fact a sign of mercy. The truth is that the Supreme Lord, the greatest benefactor of his devotees, purposefully inflicts suffering on his devotees just to increase their humility and yearning for him. Thus, the devotees' woes are not because of fruitive reactions, nor are the reactions of prarabdha sins. Madhurya Kadambini, third shower. All right. So I request Geeta Mataji, she can continue. Hare Krishna. Geeta Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji, sorry, I was muted though I was reading.
Acha.
So yes, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Text 46:7. So I will miss the Sanskrit part.
Yeah.
I will say, O name, O Krishna, offer repeated respects to you who destroy countless sins of the surrendered souls, who causes a great festival in Gokula, whose form is attractive knowledge and bliss, whose form is all pervading.
All right, one second. So this is this is taken from Stavamala of Rupa Goswami, and this is where the verse ends. Now starts the commentary of Baldev Vidyabhushan.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. 32 seva apradhas should be destroyed by the name. By what will the 10 offenses to the name, such as sadhu ninda, be destroyed? O name, O Krishna, offer respect to you. The name is described. It destroys piles of suffering of people who have committed offenses to the name, but who take shelter of the name. Jata, Nama,
Can you just
Pradha.
read that?
Yes, Prabhuji. If somehow or other one accidentally commits offenses, he should constantly chant the holy name. He should fully surrender to the name. Padma Purana, Nama Pradha, whatever. The holy name removes the sins even of those who chant offensively, provided they chant constantly. The holy name gives all results. Padma Purana forgives the committed offenses. One should constantly chant while avoiding the offenses. Okay. One should, with care, avoid offenses. Padma Purana, the name is further described. It is Swarupa of happiness with an attractive wealth of knowledge, as explained in Nama Chintamani Krishna. It is further described. It causes great festival in Gokula. The name's body is all pervading. Do the devotees suffer due to karma? A surrendered devotee is no longer liable to suffer karmic reactions. But until he is fully perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world and commits apradhas. So the Lord removes the last vestiges of such enjoying spirit by giving him punishments that may sometimes resemble suffering due to sinful reactions, but which is, in fact, a curative treatment administered by the Lord's personal hand. SVCT 10:14:8.
Yeah, this is Vishwanath Thakur.
Yes, Prabhuji. So the translation, yeah.
No, okay. So now Rupini Padma Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Mami, ek bari. As Bharata and others showed the fault of bad association, Yudhishthira and others, Yudhishthira and others, the fault of gambling, the NRGA
Nriga.
and huh?
Nriga.
Nriga and others, the fear caused by taking a Brahmana's property. Pure souls generally use their own behavior to teach the people. A commentary. Bharat Maharaj showed by his own life the danger of wrong association. Although almost perfectly devoted and renounced, he was distracted into caring for a newborn deer and therefore had to suffer birth as a deer. A similar case is that of Sobari Rishi, who was deviated from meditation by seeing two fish engaged in sex. In the opinion of the Vaikuntha Dutas, however, in reality, these elevated souls were faultless.
Yeah, so this is Brihad Bhagavatamrit.
Okay.
So
Should I continue?
Yes.
Brihad Bhagavatam, okay, 2, 3, and 172 translation. As the worshippers of the Lord desire, by the chanting of His holy name, they see their sinful reactions dwindle to nothing, even the reactions they are about to suffer. And when other people somehow chant His names, they need suffer only that part of their karma already manifest. Commentary. This explains why devotees engage in the all powerful process of Nama Sankirtan may sometimes still feel un, why devotees engage in the all powerful process of Nama Sankirtan may sometimes still feel unhappy. In the beginning of their practice, they may carry some remnants of their past sinful karma, but the Lord's names very soon cleanse those remnants away, including the reactions about to be suffered, and even those already manifest uh, prarabdha in the body and mind. Only if devotees, for some reason, want to keep their karma in that karma not keep the karma, and that karma is not removed, as the Lord says in Sri Hari Bhakti Subhod
Sudhai.
Sudhodhaya, the cycle of karma I have described is insurmountable for the demigods and the demons, but no, the mortals empowered by my devotional service have already escaped it. Sometimes non-devotees chant the Lord's names in namabhas, that is, casually or unintentionally. If they somehow avoid offenses in their chanting, they too are uh, they too are ab, absolved absolved or their of their sinful reactions. Except for their prarabdha karma, the reactions already manifest. These they must suffer, and by that suffering, their prarabdha karma also is depleted. 23169.
Okay, so now I am continuing. So those who have not destroyed offenses to the name will continue to experience the undestroyed effects of sin. When by increase of bhakti, by practicing it, the offenses to the name will be destroyed, the root of sin will be destroyed, and the person will immediately attain the Lord. But then, in order to increase the bhakti, those devotees may even take 1, 2, or 3 lifetimes to attain the Lord. The material happiness seen in those devotees arises from the practice of bhakti. It is not karma. It is said, the material results are not suitable as a goal for the person dedicated to higher spiritual goals. The desire of the person dedicated to the higher path is not attainment of material assets. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.9. The sufferings seen in those devotees are given by the Lord, who is skillful at increasing the devotion of his devotee, and who is like a doctor who makes a person fast and gives bitter medicine for increasing appetite. Thus, since even the sprout of bhakti is imperishable, unaffected by sin, and always productive, a person will definitely take birth only in order that bhakti bears leaves and fruits in the future, and not because of temporary sin and piety. Na karma bandhana janma vaishnava anupsha vidyate. The worshippers of Vishnu do not have birth due to karma. Thus, after the destruction of sin and offenses by chanting the name, which is caused by impressions of previous bhakti, persons attain the Lord by the mercy of Bhakti Devi. In the above verse, Anyavat means like those practicing karma. The devotee will not attain the world of piety and sin, but will accept the world of happiness and distress given by the Lord. So this is Vishwanath Thakur in his Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto commentary. 6th canto, 2nd chapter, and I think verse number 9 to 10, I believe. I think I forgot to mention that. Okay, next one, translation. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him. Okay, this we have already done. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Okay. Next one is text 46.4. This is Stavmala, again, original sloka of Rupa Goswami and comment by Srila Baladev. The Vedas proclaim that just by the appearance of the name on the tongue, prarabdha karma is destroyed, though is generally not destroyed without experiencing it after concentrating to attain realization of Paramatma. Commentary. The name chanted with pure bhakti destroys prarabdha karmas, which usually can only be destroyed by experiencing them without having to experiencing them. But there is the ocean commentary. Next one is how to deal. Okay, all right. So we are done with the references. Okay. So yeah, so very, very interesting. Our acharyas, they have given a lot of wonderful insights. And if you have heard with concentration, attentiveness, then you'll see that whatever Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport to the Bhagavatam slok that we recited in the beginning, so he is giving the summary of all these points. Almost everything is very clear. So Srila Prabhupada says, first of all, that suffering cannot be avoided in the material world because Ashashvatam Dukhalayam is actually stamped by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita, we know that. So you cannot avoid any suffering to the material body. Anyways, we are going to die. So in spite of the prema bhaktas of the Lord who are coming from spiritual world or who attain prema in this world, they all are going to experience some material inconvenience or suffering. But what we need to understand is that, of course, we need to rectify these things, and I will also share something on that, how to deal with the suffering. But one thing is that for the devotees of the Lord, so this is actually arranged by the Lord. It is not coming because of our karma from the previous life. Although Prabhupada says in many, I think many of the purports that he has shared, and at the same time, in the letters, the conversation also, Srila Prabhupada is saying that we should always think that it is coming because of his previous misdeeds. Devotee should think like that. It's because of past karma, and we are responsible for that. So we should try to still we should take a humble position and we should beg for the mercy of the Lord. And whoever does that in all these distressful, painful condition, paying obeisance to the Lord, continuing one's devotional service, then one is right to claim going back to Godhead. So that is true. One place Srila Prabhupada also mentions that the suffering itself is a dream. Actually, there is no suffering at all, right? And then he gives the example of a tiger trying to devour you. So, but that's a dream. So is this suffering also is like a dream? So basically, you can also understand in this way that suffering is also mental conception, and it is a relative thing. So, like for example, there are certain things that will disturb me a lot, but it won't disturb some other devotee or some other person because their mental condition is very strong, or their conception or the way they perceive life is very strong. So they are probably in the mode of goodness. We are probably in the mode of ignorance or passion. And because of the modes of material nature, and of course that influence is there because of our own karmas in the past life. So we acquire a certain body, and that body, because of that body, we have a certain nature, and nature is the root cause of all troubles, right? So yeah, so that's another point. But one thing we can conclude from the teaching of the acharyas is that bhakti will destroy all karmas. So ideally, bhakti is supposed to destroy all the karmas. The only problem is that it will not give the result immediately. Okay, I mean, of course, with the aparadhs that we commit, so we will get the reaction or we get the results of performing pure bhakti with time. So Vishwanath Thakur says that, and he says that just like you plant a tree, the tree is going to grow eventually. It is not that immediately it will grow, or it will grow according to your time, but it will give the results. So basically, the result of any tree is to give fruit, and that flower and fruit you'll get over a period of time. So that all depends on the Lord's arrangement. when he wants to give. And of course, then there is the internal confidential reason that the way it is delayed is because of the Lord wants to intensify our absorption in Him or increase our shelter to take His own shelter. In order to increase the intensity of our bhajan, the Lord will actually delay the process. Right? So, so these are all the points that are mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. So technically speaking, there is no karma for a devotee. Okay. Now there are only two stages for a devotee, and that we need to discuss. One stage, of course, we don't need to discuss anything because it's very self-obvious from the teaching of our acharyas that for a devotee there is no karma at all. Now, what kind of devotee there is no karma? Of course, the obvious thing is a pure devotee who is totally free from all the anarthas. So basically, at the stage of bhava prem, someone who is nitya siddha, someone at the stage of bhava, almost perfected being, as Prabhupada also states in the Bhagavatam purport, as well as Vishwanath Chakravarti and Sanatan Goswami also state that someone who has attained perfection is about to attain perfection. He is like free from all these karmas. So there is no doubt about that. So basically, they are not at the stage of apnam aparadh. They are at the stage of sudhanam, and at the same time, so they do not commit any aparadhs. That's why, of course, they are at the state of namavas, and at the same time, if their bhakti is pure, they are at the stage of sudhanam or stage of prema. For such devotees, there is no karma at all. Everything is demonstrated by the will of the Lord. It's orchestrated by the will of the Lord. Okay. Now the question is that what about the devotees who are committing aparadhs? So are we free from karmas? And I think the answer is already given by Srila Vishwanath Thakur in his commentary. And Srila Prabhupada also states, that it's not that the devotees who are only pure devotees, they only are free from all karmas. The thing is that one particular aspect Vishwanath Thakur shares is that when there are aparadhs, then you also get some distress because of aparadhs. So in bhakti, the output is that the result is, if you consider even sadhana bhakti itself, then according to Bhakti Samrit Sindhu, it gives two. It's basically going to bestow two things, and this is a secondary byproduct. Okay, as Prabhupada rightly states, one is that Shubhada, and one is Klesha Agni. So if you have gone through the nectar of devotion, then you'll easily understand that the immediate result of bhakti, which is basically sadhana bhakti, is that it's supposed to give you shubhada, all auspiciousness, which means, of course, that we are supposed to be happy. If everything is auspicious for us, then we are supposed to be happy. And second thing is klesha agni, which means that destruction of all sins, destruction of all the karmas. So that way, we are supposed to be happy all the time. But why are we not happy all the time? It's because we commit aparadhs. Okay, and aparadh, and that's what Srila Vishwanath Thakur also says. He repeats this point again and again in his commentary to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as well as Madhurya Kadambini, that because of aparadhs, the distress is actually bestowed to us. Now, whether it is because of karma, no, because aparadh is beyond karma. And the Lord, because the Lord is there in the life of devotee, so it is basically directly given by the Lord. So in that sense, it is the entire action reaction, or the reaction, you can say, is basically managed by the Lord. It is not because of our previous karmas. So this is what we need to understand, that there are two devotees, one is committing aparadh, one is not committing aparadh. Those who are, let's not discuss about one who is not committing, but those who are committing aparadhs, they are getting happiness and distress because it is bestowed by the Lord. Okay, aparadh and bhakti, they are two sides of the same coin, or you can say opposite sides of coin. So if you want to progress in bhakti, you have to avoid aparadhs, because aparadh is connected directly to bhakti, whereas karma is not connected. So that's why Vishwanath Thakur says that the devotee attains a place which is not connected to material piety and sin, but he goes to a place which is basically where he experiences happiness and distress, which is given by the Lord. Okay, so that thing has to be clear. Another thing I wanted to mention is that bhakti, especially the holy name, has the power to destroy all karmas that you can even imagine beyond that. So whatever sinful activities you imagine you would like to do in the future, much more than that, just by the namabhas of the holy name, it can destroy all these reactions. You cannot even imagine. It's beyond your imagination. So that is the potency and power of the holy name, because holy name is not different from the Lord. So because the Lord is, he can do anything, is unlimited. So that's why he can also destroy all karmas. Now, the very interesting thing is that bhakti does not just destroy the previous karma, the results of previous karmas, but it also destroys future karmas and as well as the prarabdha karmas. Now, if you consider any other process apart from bhakti, which is jnana or karma, and that's why in the Stavamala commentary by Baldev Vidyabhushan, what he is mentioning is that the other paths, they cannot destroy prarabdha karmas. It's not possible. So, and then what is the other path? The other path is to attain the Brahman, to realize that we are Brahman, which is basically the goal of the impersonalist or Mayavadis, to merge in Brahman or to understand that we are all Brahman and there is no God and everything is one. So by jnana, you realize the Paramatma or Brahman, and you destroy the karmas, the past karmas, the results of past karmas, which are not yet fructified, as well as future karmas you can all destroy, or whatever present karma you are doing, you can destroy that. But if you want to get free from all karmas, then you have to experience your prarabdha karmas, which means that you have to undergo the suffering connected with this current body. Only when the body will be, it will die, that time only you'll be free from all karmas. So this is the, uh, special prerogative of Bhakti Devi, that Bhakti Devi can actually destroy all the prarabdha karmas, which means that whatever you are experiencing currently in this body, connected to this body, that will all be destroyed. So that's a prerogative of prarabdha karmas. So now, that's why it is said again and again by the acharyas that whatever happiness and distress that you see in the devotees is mainly coming from your aparadhas, and it is the Lord which is giving you. Because as I shared with you earlier, aparadha is connected with bhakti. It is not connected with karma. So it's beyond piety and sin. Okay. So it is basically bestowed personally by the hand of the Lord. It is not coming from any other external source. So ideally, if you see, when you are doing bhakti, basically, if you are free from offenses to the holy name, then all your karmas are actually gone. And then Srila Vishwanath Thakur, he is giving the example of this snake, fangless snake, or you can say that the snake which is going to bite you, but the entire poison is removed from the snake. So even if the snake will bite you, it will not have any consequential effect. It may only harm you to some degree. So externally, it may seem like you have been bitten by someone, and there will be some small pain, but you will not die from that pain. So similarly, the Lord actually, for a devotee, he keeps the semblance of karma continuing. And this is a typical example of Ajamil also. So Ajamil destroyed all his karmas, past, present, future, all at once. And that's why you see that Ajamil committed so many sinful activities after chanting the name of Narayan. And he repeated that, right? But still he committed some sinful activities again and again. Like, for example, he got married to a prostitute, he started stealing, and then he got into bad association, he started drinking, started gambling. All these regular principles were broken by Ajamil. But why he did not face any reaction to all these sinful activities? Because the reactions were all destroyed just by the namabhas, the chanting of the name in namabhas, without any aparadhs. He did not commit a single offense to the holy name. And that's why he got the association of Vishnu Dutas. And then later he developed Shuddhanam, he chanted Shuddhanam, and then he went back to Vaikuntha. Okay. So, so in one place, Vishwanath Thakur also mentions that the Lord actually, so two places. One says that unless a devotee wants to continue his karma, that's Sanatan Goswami's commentary, I think, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And another place, Vishwanath Thakur says that the Lord actually will give 1, 2, or 3 births to the devotee depending on his desire to intensify his bhajan. Okay, and the typical example of this phenomena is basically Jad Bharat, Chitraketu Maharaj, as well as um, Jad Bharat, Chitraketu, and one more devotee.
Maharaj?
Huh?
Parikshit Maharaj?
Well, Parikshit Maharaj, he heard the Bhagavatam. We are talking about those devotees who took birth. They had to take birth. So Chitraketu, Jad Bharat, and forgot. Yeah, Indradum Maharaj. So he became Gajendra in the next life. So these are the devotees who took birth. So Vishwanath Thakur says that actually all these devotees, they had their desire to intensify their prema, and that's why the Lord gave them multiple chances to do that. So it was not because of any kind of karma. Like we say that they got attached to this and that. Chitraketu Maharaj actually offended Lord Shiva. That was not the case. He was not at all. He was free from ego. And we also mentioned about Gajendra and Maharaj Indradumna. So in the previous life, actually, Indradum Maharaj had committed. I mean, it was not his fault. There was some misunderstanding, and then he got cursed, and then he came as Gajendra. So, and in one of the articles that I shared of Sanatan Goswami, he says that these personalities are not to be considered at fault. They are faultless. They are just showing by example, and they cover their bhakti. They do not share it. They do not express it openly. Okay, but they would like to hide their glories. So that's why they perform such kind of pastimes according to the desire of the Lord. Right. So, so this is what we need to understand, that suffering is a byproduct of the material world. It is going to happen irrespective of whatever, because if there is no suffering, just imagine who is going to connect with the Lord. I don't think anyone is going to try to realize who is God, right? Because if everyone is enjoying, if there's no suffering at all, then there's no question of connecting back to the Lord. So that's why suffering is there.
Yes, Prabhuji, and also Prabhuji, because of that, Kunti Maharani asked for suffering.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But that kind of suffering is at the level of prema, someone who is a Nitya Siddha. So we cannot imitate that. But if suffering is coming on its own, then we can learn from her example, like that. But we cannot imitate that kind of position. So one suffering is, first of all, the first point is that devotees, in the material world, suffering is going to be there. Okay, so we need to accept that. And that's the reason that will give us some, it will keep us enthused to, or convinced that this is not the place where we belong to. We have to move out from this place. Okay, so that's the first thing that Prabhupada wants to impress upon us. Second thing is that pure devotees, they are beyond karma. They do not have any karma. They are acting at the just to please the Lord, according to the Lord's desire. Third thing is that those who are not pure devotees, those who are offenders, they are also managed by the Lord. It's not because of their karmas that they get some reaction. Fourth thing is that bhakti can actually destroy unlimited karmas. Okay. If we commit offenses, then the process becomes very slow. The prarabdha karmas, or the past and the future karmas, they all are destroyed at a very slow pace. But if we are not committing offenses, then it will be quicker. And basically, whatever distress that we suffer is actually arrangement of the Lord to basically purify us, or to enhance our bhakti, to intensify our bhakti. And Srila Prabhupada also says rightly that whenever you are experiencing, devotees, we are experiencing suffering, then the best panacea for all these suffering is to have Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, to take shelter of the holy names, to take shelter of Krishna Katha. So that way, that's why Prabhupada says in the letter that when you face some kind of suffering or distress, chant Hare Krishna loudly and try to intensify your bhajan. Like, you need to take shelter of the process of bhakti. So these are this is a synopsis of what we have gone through till now. And so now let's take any questions or comments from devotees. Maybe I have forgotten to share something, but I think in the course of our discussion, I will remember and I will share also. So, all right. So, any devotees, they have any questions or comments? I remember Geeta Mataji, she wanted to express something. So, you can share your thoughts, Mataji. And then Rupini Padma Mataji also, I think she wanted to share something, and maybe others also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is such an important topic, and I really, really am very thankful to you for giving one this knowledge, because I really was wondering, because we keep adding more karmas. I thought so when is, because it's like filling a pitcher of filling a glass with water and with holes in it. It's like that. So I always was of the belief, Prabhuji, that prarabdha karma one has to go through. This is what I had thought all along. There was no way to not go through prarabdha karma. Can you please clarify that a little more, Prabhuji? Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So, see, apart from now, what is prarabdha karma? First of all, prarabdha karma is the karma that you are currently experiencing because of your previous actions, previous karmas. So basically, let's say in the past you committed some action, and then uh, there are aprarabdha karmas, and then there is the kutam, which are generated in the future lives. So it may be the next life, or it may be multiple lifetimes in the future. And when you take birth in the next life, then that aprarabdha and kutam, so kutam will become bij, and bij will become prarabdha. Now, what is bija and prarabdha? So bija is the karmas that is in the seed form that you will experience in future in this life. So it's not yet experienced now, but after some few years, months, or days, you will experience that. So it's basically in the seed form, and it will affect you in this life. And prarabdha is a karma that you are experiencing right away, right now. So that is bija and prarabdha. Now I told you that aprarabdha and kuta, these are in the future lifetimes. So basically in this life, it becomes bija and prarabdha. So basically everything boils down to bija and prarabdha in this life. Okay. So now prarabdha karmas, now bhakti can destroy that because bhakti has the ability to destroy all karmas. So simple. Except that when we are taking birth in a particular family, we have some parents, right? So that we cannot change. So certain circumstances that accompanies the body environment, that we cannot change. Okay, but what is the essence of destroying the karma? It is basically you are removing the distress that accompanies that, or you remove the underlying happiness that will accompany that. So happiness in the sense that happiness connected to the material world. So that all is gone just by performing. Like for example, you become Krishna conscious right away, and whatever distress and suffering that you are having right now, that is all going to be relieved. Or it can be immediately relieved, or it can take some time to get relieved. It all depends on your consciousness, your surrender, and of course the influence of aparats from the previous lives. So that way it removes all the karmas. So does it make sense?
So, Prabhuji, it removes the karmas, or it removes I mean, one will go through
karma,
the suffering.
what is how do you understand karma's effect? You basically judge by its ability to give you happiness and distress, right? So
Yeah.
when you see the most of the common thing why we are coming to Krishna consciousness is most of the devotees, they come because they experience distress in the life, and that's why
Yes.
they have questions, they are inquisitive, and they come. Now the moment they start performing bhakti, they become blissful. So actually, you are supposed to face some more distress in this life, but because of bhakti, that distress is all gone. because you experience the taste of the Lord's resurrection. The qualities, pastimes, and form when you see, then you experience this bliss through that. So basically, all your distress is actually gone. So that way you can experience that the bhakti can actually remove prarabdha karmas.
No, so Prabhuji, what you're saying is that one may go through, but one won't suffer because of bhakti.
So
May go through.
that's the same
Yeah.
thing, right?
No, yes, you're right. But like if suppose I'm just giving a very hypothetical example. Has to go through an accident before a prarabdha karma, one will go through that accident but not suffer mentally because one has become strong.
Correct.
Or,
Yeah. And another thing is that instead of undergoing that accident, you may get a token reaction, as our acharyas they explained that your finger may get cut while cutting vegetables instead of undergoing that. So quantity wise also you may be saved, at the same time in terms of quality wise also, because as you said that your mental conception will be different when you're practicing bhakti. So you avoid everything,
yeah.
So your let's say you have a particular nature, and that nature keeps you are so affected by things. But now after coming to bhakti, you realize that this is temporary, and we should not be affected. Like you get knowledge, and that entire concept will be actually changed. So that quality will be there. At the same time, quantity also the Lord will definitely do it. Now, one of the reasons why, as we were also discussing, that it's not necessary that prarabdha karma will be immediately destroyed. It may take some time also. The Lord will take some time also. It's not necessary immediately as you desire it will happen. No. Now, what another perspective to understand this is that, let's say if you are supposed to meet with an accident, the thing is that you are under the law of karma, and you are supposed to uh, experience the accident. But once you come to bhakti, now you are no longer under the control of the law of karma. Now you are directly under supervision of the Lord. So if the Lord wants, the accident may happen, or it may not happen, or you may get a token reaction for it. Okay, but the purpose of the entire thing is there is some lesson to be learned from that. There is some, like for example, our Gaurang Prabhu from ISKCON Chopati, very staunch brahmachari, very popular figure in ISKCON, very dedicated and surrendered to His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. He's done tremendous services for ISKCON since a long time. So what happened is, when earlier days when he joined Krishna consciousness, so that time he was very enthusiastic, eagerly doing a lot of services for the devotee community, but he was not sure whether he would like to join the ashram. He was thinking that he will go to the US, get some job or something, and then he will also practice bhakti along with that. But all of a sudden, there was a major accident that he had to undergo. And at that point of time, he realized one thing very strongly, that I could have died because of this accident, but Krishna has given me another life. He has saved me, literally. So now my life belongs to Krishna. So immediately he joined the Brahmachari ashram. So although Radhanath Swami Maharaj wanted him to join Brahmachari ashram from the early days itself, but he was not that convinced to join. And so this entire thing happened, and then immediately joined. Now you see the effect of that. That because he became a brahmachari, now he's doing so many exemplary, extraordinary services for the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Right?
Who, Prabhuji? Can you give the name of the brahmachari?
Gaurang Prabhu.
Oh, acha, okay.
Yeah.
So Prabhuji, hypothetically, I'm not talking about him in particular, but the Lord can also make you join. I'm just saying, hypothetical. Why did he have to give him an accident to join, and rather than without an accident? I'm just like, a human mind is curious. I know, yeah.
So see, that's why Prabhupada also mentioned in this, he quotes the Yasyaham Anugrami Harishyattab Dhanam Shaya verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada also similar thing. Now you can also ask this question, that why Prabhupada had to take sannyas. He could have done in his Grihastha ashram also, but he was forced to take sannyas. And then Prabhupada says that Krishna finished me off materially. I was finished, and so I had no other shelter. So the point is that there are certain incidents which you undergo and experience, then you yourself will realize that actually if this would not have happened, I would have not have taken this decision. So there are some strong things needs to be happened with us for our, and Krishna knows that. Like we may resist that for the timing, but then if something like that will happen, it will shake us up, and it will bring to us to a point where we actually will really surrender to the Lord. Otherwise, we'll not surrender. So now, of course, this will depend on different contexts with different. It's not that every devotee will have to undergo this kind of experience. Okay, but if there is a necessity, then that experience has to be taken. There's another example of Brajvilas Prabhu, who is also doing. He's currently the director of the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, and he also underwent some accident. I think 1 or 2 years ago, but he was saved by the Lord. So that is actually something which is going to make our conviction stronger. Now, if your conviction is already stronger, then of course maybe this particular incident is not required. But Krishna will treat devotees in different ways. It's not going to be same for everyone. Now, there are some devotees who will resist a lot. They will not surrender, and they may not be able to accept that situation also. So then the Lord will make them gradually surrender to Him. So it all depends on different scenarios. But one thing is that, so our karma, it's no longer karma. This is what I'm trying to convey. It all depends. It's all under the purview of the Lord. He will arrange different situations. Okay.
So basically, it's not karma, Prabhuji, but it is like when the Lord wants you to come to Him.
Yeah. I mean, or you can also say, you can have another perspective, and you can say that the Lord uses our karma for our purification.
Yeah.
So it may be a part of your karma, okay, but the Lord will use that to purify you by that experience.
So
there are some karmas that that may be required to be bestowed to the devotee. For example, see, now Krishna consciousness movement is widespread, and it is not considering the background of any devotee, not considering the caste or any kind of mentality of a person, right? It is giving freely to everyone. Who knows if some person who has become a devotee in the previous life, he committed very sinful activities like raping a woman, or like, for example, participating in a terrorist activity and killing lots of people. Do you think that there will be no reaction at all? Right? I mean, the Lord is definitely very merciful. He can nullify all the reactions, but there's also consideration of certain activities that the Lord has to. I mean, ultimately, He knows the karma of all living entities for immemorial lifetimes, innumerable lifetimes, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we cannot. That's the reason we can just have faith. That's it. There is no other choice. We must have faith that ultimately, see, there are only two possibilities. One is that you are suffering. The Lord is giving you the suffering because He wants to take revenge with you. Then that means He has become a evil God who just wants to make the people suffer, right? And the other perspective is that the Lord is extremely kind. He is very merciful. So what can we do? We have only one choice. We have to have faith that the Lord is only giving us token reaction, or it is His arrangement, so that we learn from it when we grow in our bhakti. So this is what we are supposed to do. Yeah. But the commentaries of the acharyas, they are very, I think you can say that they are extremely inspiring, because they are revealing the merciful aspect of the Lord, the reason why the Lord is actually giving us some kind of suffering. And as it is mentioned, that the last wastage of material desire is being removed by the Lord. So the Lord wants to constantly purify us, and that's why He is basically giving us some kind of distress, right?
Right, Prabhuji. So from our part, basically, we just have to, try and reduce our apradhas and increase our bhakti, Shuddh bhakti, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I forgot to come to this conclusion of how to deal with the suffering. I mean, I wanted to discuss that. So I just
Prabhuji, one more thing. You were
yes,
mentioning about some accident. What accident are you referring to in your previous talk, Abhi, with Mataji? They had some accident.
car
What are you?
accident. Gaurang Prabhu had a car accident.
Oh, you mean to say like some accident happened and then there was a transformation in
Yeah, I
lot
mean,
of devotees'
then
life?
then he decided that he will dedicate his life to the Lord by surrender,
Oh,
becoming a
happened to other
puja.
devotees also. Braj, other devotees also. They've had some accident or the other.
Uh,
Like other devotees you mentioned also had some accident in their life and then they became serious through the Guru Maharaj.
yeah, that has happened many times.
Okay,
So
okay, okay.
it may be accident, or it may be as Srila Prabhupada was forced to give up the material world, give up his family. So it took sannyas. So there may be incidents like that, where
Okay,
this is the reason the devotees become convinced that they would like to dedicate full time.
okay, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. Now the question comes is that how to deal with suffering that is coming to us. So see, Prabhupada is not fanatic also. At the same time, he's not saying that okay, just don't worry about suffering. Although Prabhupada does state that we should not be bothered so much of suffering because it's part and parcel of the material world. But at the same time, in other places, Srila Prabhupada also mentions that whenever there is a suffering, we should deal with that. We should cure it. So unnecessarily, we should not take any sufferings upon oneself, but we should try to cure it. So now, what kind of sufferings are there? Basically, the suffering is that we have some problems with devotees, or we are undergoing some kind of material diseases, but some kind of challenges. So we have to deal with it. So we have to face it, and we have to rectify it. So for example, if you are having some material disease, then we go to a doctor, take medicine, and we get cured. That is supposed to be there. Similarly, when we are facing problems with devotees, we are supposed to communicate with them. We are supposed to tell them that this is what we are not able to, like, I'm not able to appreciate, or I'm not liking it. Please avoid that. So this is the way we are supposed to deal with it direct. Now, so whenever we are in a problematic situation, we are supposed to find a solution for that. Now, when we are supposed to give up, or we should take shelter of the Lord, of course, we are supposed to take shelter of the Lord every time, each time. Even if we are going to find some solution, we take shelter of the Lord. But when do we leave our efforts and give it to the Lord? When situation is beyond our control. So we have tried our best to rectify the situation, but now, even if in spite of my trying so many times, putting all efforts, still there is no rectification from the other side, or sometimes we get some reaction from the nature itself, so that we are not able to control. So that's beyond our efforts, and that's the time when we should leave it upon the Lord. Okay, so that time we are supposed to tolerate. We're supposed to accept it, and we are supposed to feel that okay, now it's the Lord desire. Maybe this is coming on me because maybe because of my previous karmas, or because of the Lord wants me to rectify certain things. So we are supposed to identify the problem, try to find a solution, and if not, then we are supposed to leave it completely to the Lord. Now there are two things. One thing is that externally you will try to find a solution to the problems. If you find a solution, if it is getting resolved, okay, that's very good. But if it does not get resolved, then we take shelter of the Lord, we leave it upon to Him. And at the same time, so externally you do that. But internally, now this is the main uh, crux of the entire issue, is that there may be some problem externally, but are you getting disturbed internally, mentally, emotionally? If yes, then that is supposed to be worked upon. Like for example, someone will come and insult you. Okay. So definitely you can go to the person and say that this, I did not like this. Please avoid that in the future. But internally you are thinking of that insult. Oh, this devotee insulted me so much. I will not forgive him. I will, when the opportunity comes, I will also get back to him. So this internal tendency is because of your nature. And you need to curb that down. So that needs to be understood from knowledge. It has to be, we need to take help of Vidya, knowledge, which we are getting from our acharyas. And then we need to understand one thing, that whatever karma, whatever distressful situation we are facing, it is because of the Lord's. See, whether it is coming from karma, whether it is coming, like for one instance, it is also mentioned that unreasonably also it may come. There is no karma that we have committed in the past because of which we are suffering now. It may come unexpectedly, unnaturally, or unreasonably to us. If it is coming unreasonably to us, it means the Lord has definitely sanctioned it. Of course, all reactions to the karmas, it is all sanctioned by the Lord. It cannot come without the sanction of the Lord. So one thing we need to understand, that everything that we are facing is basically sanctioned by the Lord. And now if the Lord has sanctioned it, it means that I'm supposed to accept that. So we should not disturb our mind unnecessarily, and we should focus on a higher taste or a principle, which is basically Krishna consciousness. And that will help you to mentally be very stable and always be satisfied. Okay. So we will see this pattern in many of the devotees of the Lord also. Like for example, Arjun, Pandavas, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, they all, now Dhruv Maharaj, he killed so many yakshas when his brother was actually killed by them, right? He did not wanted to spare any of the yakshas, but he killed in a massive scale. And then Brahmaji had to finally come down and he had to somehow pacify. I think Brahma or Swambhuva Manu had to come down and he had to pacify Prahlad Maharaj. And then because the superior came, he obeyed and followed the instruction of the superior, and then he was pacified. But externally, all these devotees, we'll see Pandavas, they also retaliated. They had the entire Mahabharata Kurukshetra war. Krishna himself wanted the war to happen, right? So when we are in the material world, and when we are in a particular position or a social structure, we need to reform things. It's not that we just give it up. Okay, see, if you are a sannyasi or if you are a Bhajananandi, then you give up the material world. It means that you are on a transcendental platform. So it should not affect you totally. So whatever is happening to you, you don't react at all, because that is not your position. It's not in your dharma to act like that. So sannyasi is not supposed to react the same way. So sannyasi cannot go and fight a war. Okay. Although Parshuram did that, he was basically he took the role of a Kshatriya, although he was actually a Brahmana. But so he changed his position depending on time and circumstance. But when we are talking about ISKCON, when talking about Vaishnavas, we're talking about certain duties that we have, roles to play that we have. And so as Grihasthas or as people who are belonging to the material world, we are actually in the material world. So that for that time being, we are supposed to act. We are supposed to reform certain things. But when we take sannyas, we become Bhajananandis, full-time devotees to the Lord, then our position is going to change. So we cannot react in the same way, right? So depending on the social structure and the position, we externally we react in according to our varna and ashrama. But in all these situations, whether one is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, in fact, Kali Yuga, everyone is a Sudra. So one is supposed to internalize the principles of Krishna consciousness, which means Trinapi Sunichena, and then thinking that everyone is instrument of my own karma, those who are causing me suffering. Okay, so that will internalize and that will help you to maintain a stable mindset, and you understand that okay, that no one is to be blamed here. Okay, so this is how we are supposed to balance things, and of course take as much as shelter of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, right? So this is the way we deal with suffering that is going to come to us, and how much are we supposed to tolerate. So as I was also sharing earlier that the Lord will definitely test you. Bhakti it's full of, the path is set full of thorns. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says that for a devotee, the path is full of thorns, and that's why there will be tests at many different levels. And the Lord, what He's going to do is He's going to actually intensify the test, and He's also going to intensify our tolerance level. So the more we tolerate, the more test will also become severe. But of course, the Lord will not test beyond our capacity. So He knows in and out of us. So He knows that will not be able to tolerate beyond certain level. So He will give you that kind of test challenges that you will be able to accept. And of course, if you commit aparadh, that will actually hamper your bhakti. It will start destroying your bhakti. So we should stay away from offenses to the name. But yeah, the tolerate also, it's similar to the suffering. How much we tolerate, it's not necessary that we have to artificially tolerate, keep tolerating. That, okay, oh, I am practicing sadhaka, so let me keep tolerating. So let everyone come and beat me, and whatever they would like, they can do with me. It's not like that. You have to take action externally, but internally you have to have some um, cultivation of like by knowledge. We should try to apply things. So this is what we are supposed to do. Okay, all right. So this is what I wanted to share about tolerance as well as handling how to deal with suffering. So any devotees, they have any further comments on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just wanted to appreciate your wonderful class and association. Just wonderful topic you came up with about suffering. And yes, definitely, when we were not in Krishna consciousness, we took the suffering used to come in the form of all this pride, ego, anger. We used to get frustrated. We would also sometimes lose our temper. All that used to happen, right? But then now when we have and I was mentioning to you about Kunti Maran, yes, she's on the prema level, but it is always intrigues my mind that how much she loves Krishna, because she had faith that Krishna will be there, you know at the time. So she says, you Krishna, you keep giving problem only because I know you'll be there. So I'm always amazed to remember her. That's one point. And other thing is, like like the holy name, like Puja Mataji was saying in the beginning, holy name is not different from Krishna. So connecting the holy name to the topic of suffering, I think that however much suffering we have, first of all, we don't have suffering like the Pandavas. We don't have suffering like Prahlad Maharaj. You know how he was suffering. It's just that, like, because of Srila Prabhupada, he's given books, teachings. Its life has become so much less suffering for us. We should not even think that he has spent sleepless nights, Prabhupada, and actually he's taken our suffering away. 2 hours he's sleeping, and all he's doing is he's saying, there's one thing, no, there was Prabhupada says this dialogue, it rings in my mind. You're not reading Bhagavad Gita? That dialogue he always makes, Prabhupada. You're not reading Bhagavad Gita? There was some small little clip I was hearing, and Prabhupada says, then I feel, no, we have to read Bhagavad Gita in the evening every day. It's supposed to read, we should make a home a temple only. So, but the point is that you mentioned one line, we should be happy, all the time happy. If sufferings are coming, then just, it's at the body level. So just some thoughts were coming, but like, definitely, I don't get very intrigued or have anxiety about whatever I've done in the past in this life. Like, as a Mataji body, sometimes there are so many things, maybe we would have beat up our children, or maybe we had an abortion, or maybe we didn't care so much for our husband, cooked properly. So many things we didn't do in our life. But when we came into Krishna consciousness, it's like duty, we realize. Prabhupada says it's a duty, it's a dharma, you have to, whether you like it or not. So, once we started doing that, whether we liked or not, automatically everything is taken care of, because you are, as a wife or whatever your role is at your home, you just play the role. So then where will suffering come from? Why should suffering come? So just some random thoughts were coming because of the lovely notes that you made and took so much time. and took up this topic. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. I don't have a specific question, but I really feel sufferings have become very less, especially on one account that anytime suffering comes, we can call out to Krishna's name. And Krishna is not different from the name, and Krishna will be there with us. So I tell this a lot of people in the preaching also. I said, do you have distress in life? Are you get depressed? Just call out to Krishna. So there's one Mataji, she's a Muslim lady. She had come to our place to visit my mom. And we had a little conversation. Somehow I was busy. I was not able to talk to her anything. But when she was going back, she says, you say those two words, right? Mataji, you didn't mention. She was driving and going, almost she had backed her car. So I said, what, Mataji? So I said, what? Like I call her auntie. You know what, auntie? She says, there was some word you said. I said, Hare Krishna. She says, yeah, good you said the word Hare Krishna. Now I'll have a nice ride back. So for some people who are not in Krishna consciousness, they're in Muslim background, they have heard you, and for them, Hare Krishna is so important, like so I just wanted to mention, like, even if the big topic of suffering is there, but we know we have our own Krishna, all of us, and we have a relationship with Krishna, and then his name is also non different. So why do we be scared of being in the Prabhuji? Is there reason to be scared of Kali Yuga? We should be scared of Kali Yuga because at least we have the holy name. I'm just asking you.
Yeah. So
Prabhupada said we always have to keep praying. We have to keep praying, right?
yeah, actually, I also wanted to bring one point. It's a very important point. It's not necessary that one has to actually really suffer in Krishna consciousness. Now, because you also shared about Kunti Maharani's prayers, and she's asking for suffering and distress. Now, what is the reason for her asking for this kind of thing? Is because she is fearful that if she is happy, then she'll forget Krishna. So basically, if you would like to avoid suffering, the simple solution is that you remember Krishna at the time of happiness also. The only challenge is that when we are too much happy, then we forget Krishna. So that's why suffering is sometimes required, so that we may understand the material world as it is.
Yeah.
Rightful place. Otherwise, we may assume that material world also gives enjoyment. So, but if a devotee is able to remember Krishna as a loving, if you develop a loving relationship with him as a lover, then you can actually always think and remember the Lord, and that way you don't even have to actually undergo any kind of suffering. And that's why Prabhupada, in his letter to Tejas, which we just read, what does he say? That Krishna does not like to see sincere devotees suffer or become frustrated or depressed. He will not stand idly by in any such case. So do not fear on that account. Krishna has got some plan for you. Always think in that way, right? So
yes,
it's not that Krishna wants us to suffer, every one of us to suffer. Basically, first of all, it's suffering is also a mental conception, as I said, that it's a relative thing.
Dream. It's a bad dream.
It's a dream, you can say, but very difficult to accept that it's a dream, because we are actually experiencing that. We are experiencing that. So, and sometimes the suffering can be prolonged also. It's not that okay, it's a temporary suffering for a couple of days or a week, and then it will go away. Sometimes devotees, they may have to suffer for years also, which is very painful. So of course, I am not in that level that I can actually tolerate that kind of suffering. So it is not that the Lord wants to give us suffering, but again, it's all, He is the absolute knower of everything. He knows all individuals' shortcomings, anarthas, requirement, needs, and depending on that, He has to do the needful. He does that, basically. So we must have faith that whatever He does, it will be beneficial for us in the future.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And it's amazing. Your Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, how he has empowered Gaurang Prabhu. That it's amazing. He keeps sending these clips on Facebook. He gives lectures, and then he does like bulk cooking.
Yeah, he does many things. And what to speak of Gaurang Prabhu, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj's journey home, if you have read,
yes,
then you must have understood that how much, so much of problems that he had to undergo. And each and every challenge and problem made him more closer to the Lord. And finally came to Prabhupada's shelter. So his life is full of adventures, where the adventures were, a lot of adventures were actually life-threatening situations for him. But he experienced all these things, and he actually realized that it was all meant for him to move closer to the Lord. So it was in one sense, it all turned out to be blissful for him. So that way also, like many times we also experience that certain situation we get stuck in, and then we actually complain, and we also say, we try to blame. But then after some point of time, we realize that, oh, I'm glad that I was not in that, somehow I was um, saved by the Lord from that situation. Otherwise, I would have been a part of this. Like, for example, in the Air India plane crash that happened. So, there were people who were going to board that flight, but because of some last minute cancellations happened, and they were saved. And similarly, there was one person out of the entire crew. There was only one person who got saved. Who was there actually in the flight inside, and somehow he got saved. So you may never know. There are certain things it is beyond our imagination and speculation.
Yes, Prabhuji, that's true. And also, like you mentioned about Radhanath Maharajji, I think when he came first time in front of Srila Prabhupada, I think there was a big crowd. Maybe I've read it somewhere, but just correct me, but you'll be knowing better, being his disciple. Out of the way, at the backside, Maharaj was there, and then Prabhupada asked him to come in front, or like something like that.
Yes. So Prabhupada asked Shamsundar Prabhu. So basically, he asked Shamsundar Prabhu to go and get the person who is at the back. He was actually at the end of the program. So somehow even your Guru Maharaj also, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj also, even Gopal Krishna Maharaj also, they all had so many challenges, and apparently externally it seemed that they were having a lot of bodily inconveniences. Are having bodily inconveniences, but they are all seeing that as mercy of the Lord. Of course, their tolerance level capacity is too good. Too high. We cannot imitate that. But yes, we just try to learn from their example also.
And also, you were mentioning in the class about, how sometimes Krishna makes arrangement of Chitraketu, how his time was there to go with, and how he told Durga ji, like Lord Shiva's wife, Durga, yeah. So similarly, I was thinking that one of our Guru Maharajas, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, was at the time of COVID in Ujjain. And he made it a point that he said, I have started this project of the cow sanctuary in the land. And my devotees, I don't want them to be thinking that, they are alone. I want to be with them. Such a tough time he came. But actually, it was time for him to go. It was time for him to Krishna, because imagine, like, who would travel in such a time? For 2 to 3 years, none of us traveled to India.
Yeah.
And these Guru Maharajas are like at a total different level, altogether. And also one more incident of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I'd heard from his dear disciple Radhika Kripa Mataji that Maharaj went to the bathroom and he fell down. And what happened is he broke his rib, and there was a big, nishan piche, like that. Still he got up on his own, and he was continuing his duties, everything. And then later on, when they saw on the body that this happened, he didn't even complain that, a normal person will say, I fell down, I think my rib is broken, like that they will do. But Gopal Krishna Maharaj they just tolerate. Very high level of toleration.
Yeah.
They're not of the bodily concept at all.
That's right.
Right?
So, okay. Thank you so much for sharing.
So much.
The devotees, they have any comments?
Yeah, and I request devotees, like on this call, there was one Maharaj, one Prabhuji came from Vrindavan and requested that, our ISKCON is a personal movement. So whoever comes and asks questions, at least I'm trying, because of the Prabhuji who was there, that at least come online then. So Prabhuji is also there with us, and I'm sure he's seeing a screen with no faces. So our movement of ISKCON is a personal movement. So whoever is asking, and if it's not possible, there was one person who came, he was not a Maharaj, but he's a disciple of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He's a I don't know if anybody knows the name. Mataji just had invited him to a call, and he said, unless you're in the bathroom, then don't come online. You are in your private area, like in the bathroom. Otherwise, everybody should come online to ask questions, because I'm also online and we are not impersonalist. So that's why I came. I'm following Prabhuji, or we call him Maharaj's instructions. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Mother. Thank you. Yes. All right. So, if there are no other questions or comments, then we can stop for the day.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Mataji is online. Hare Krishna. Nice to see
Thank
you.
you, sir. Yes, that day Prabhuji encouraged us to everyone to come on.
Mataji actually started it, and now we are following Mataji and the Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this nectar class and such a wonderful topic. Always we have questions.
It says stopped.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. So let's pay message to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha Kalpataruvesha. Krupa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo.
I forgot to mention, by the way, I have a group where I share all the teaching of the Acharyas. So, Rupini Padma Mataji, Shyam Rasika Mataji, they are all there in the group. I'm not sure if others, they know about this, but I think Shyam Rasika Mataji had sent the WhatsApp message.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent on our group. I will send it again, Prabhuji. If you
So if devotees would like to join this group, then they can take.
Yeah, please send it, Mataji.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
today's slides also, if possible. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yeah, Prabhuji, please send. You would like to send email or of that? Or
You can just put
Right.
it on the WhatsApp group or wherever, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, will you able to send it on WhatsApp group or email?
I have already shared with you in the WhatsApp only, no?
So today's price, Prabhuji.
Today, okay. Today, yeah, so I think email.
Okay, sure.
Yes, so email, you can share with me which email I have to supposed to send, and then you
Sure.
can share in your group if you have created some group.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Prabhuji. Vancha Kalpataruvesha Krupa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Anant Koti Vaishnava ki jai Namacharya
Jai.
Thakur ki jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai Granth
Jai.
Bhagavatam ki jai His Grace Premarasa Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
so
Prabhuji.
much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Thank
And
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, and happy
Bol.
Gandhi
Hari Bol.
India today.